Welcome to Roots Down Regenerative AF Podcast. I am Jamie Rosenthal, your host. This is going to be a podcast all about real talk on sustainability and urban regeneration. Climate change really sucks, but instead of doom scrolling, we're digging into real solutions. You're on Roots Down Regenerative AF Podcast. I don't know how much you know about this, but I am a huge climate activist and a huge environmentalist.
Nice.
Started my job being a farmer, and that's where I'm at now, doing podcasts about urban ecology.
Beautiful.
So I'm bringing you on.
And you're an amazing human being.
Thank you.
Yes, that you are.
I think you're an amazing human being. Watching you get shot last week was almost the death of my daughter. Was like, I'm not gonna live. I'm not gonna live. She's like, I don't live. But I want the audience to know who you are.
Yes.
Some people might not know The Rookie, but The Rookie's a big show. It's my daughter and I's favorite TV show ever. I want you to know, like, when we saw you, it's our favorite TV show ever.
When you said hi to me, it very much so was humbling and definitely it brought a big smile on my face because, you know, what a lot of the fans of the show, what they don't realize, when you're acting, you don't see anyone. You don't see anyone's reaction. You don't really know if what you're doing is that impactful. You hope it is, but you don't know. So when you get these random, blue moon moments where people say how much they appreciate what you're doing or they love the show, that was a moment I had with you guys, and I was awesome.
You made her world. I'm telling you, you letting her babysit your kids will make her. She loves kids.
Pinnacle point. Right?
She will make her moment. She'll be like, "This is it.
I love it.
I love it.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
So
it's gonna happen.
I want to welcome you to the podcast. This is important to me. I had a farm for about a decade of my life.
Wow.
It's where I learned to connect to nature, where I learned how important it is for people to be grounded, for people to understand, like, the life cycles, like the leaves falling on the ground, creating compost for the soil, for, like, we are a part of this earth, whether we like to separate ourselves out from it or not.
This
right?
is our home. Yep.
This is it.
Yep. We got to take care of it.
There is no planet B.
Absolutely.
Unless Elon Musk has something to do with it.
Well, that's another conversation.
That's son of a bitch.
We'll leave that at the end of the interview.
Okay. So I want to know a little bit more about you. I want the audience to know a little bit more about you, who you are.
Yeah.
What makes you tick?
Well, I am a very optimistic human being. By nature, I try to see the best in everything, everyone. I'm a self-motivator, so it naturally kind of bleeds over into how I respond to people. My rapport with individuals is how can I lift them up, even if it's something as simple as a smile. But I will definitely say I'm a Sagittarius, I'm a fire sign. So I'm far from a sissy or a punk. And with that being said, when you push me too far, the dark side can't come out.
Oh my God.
I'm an advocate of justice. Like, I believe that we should be treating each other a lot better. Because right now in society, I think we're treating each other like crap. And thus we're treating our planet like crap.
This is rated R, so we can say shit. By the way.
I'm trying to work on my language. But
I think God likes this language. I'm just saying.
We treat each other like, insignificant. And so with that mentality, you're going to treat the things around you insignificantly. So right now, if we look at our planet's in turmoil. Our cities are in turmoil. No one's really taking the time to have good dialogue, actually understand each other's perspective, but also understand the role you yourself can play. We point the damn finger so much at what another person is or is not doing. What are you first doing and not doing? And that's a big part of my personality. I try to, put myself in check, say like, okay, what's my participation in this? Before I try to point the finger. Could I have done something better? Could I have said something? Could my tone maybe have been a little different? If I'm mad, I don't give a damn about my tone. But if it's not a, enraged moment, I really try to monitor how I'm coming off, because I want to be, sincere. I want to be caring. I definitely want to make sure that my energy is coming off as considerate. So yeah, what's so funny is I work in an industry where you have to be so absorbed with yourself though, right? Like you kind of have to, really feel yourself and really, I don't want to say this. You have to judge yourself on the daily in this industry as an actor. And one thing I can definitely say, you have to check yourself. You have to check yourself before you wreck yourself. You have to check yourself before you wreck yourself. I know, it was right there. And I do that organically, but there's a certain level of arrogance that this industry kind of cultivates within your artistry. And I've always been mindful of that because I feel like that can tear you apart where you start thinking it's all about you. And it's not all about you. It's about the team. It's about the collectiveness. And so being self-absorbed is something I've had to just really work on to say, okay, I love performing. I love being a thespian, but I really want to make sure through my art, how am I spreading the love that I'm about? How am I spreading the faith that I represent? How am I spreading the confidence? So that becomes a big factor in the roles I pick. So picking, I should say the rookie first picked me, then I picked it back. That started off as a 1 episode guest star. So I was supposed to do 1 episode. 2020, I got that role and had no idea it would birth into what it's become now. Marrying, Nyla, played by Makia Cox, like marrying her character, becoming
I love her character. She's such a badass.
She's phenomenal, dude.
Such a badass.
Super badass. Like super badass. I can say that. Super badass. And how lucky am I that I get to be a part of that flair? You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, that's my TV wife right there. Like, I get to say that. And so that carries over into, how people see me, how people see James. And it really allows me to have certain conversations with folks. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to officers who say, man, I love the dynamic you have. Because when I go home to my wife after, being on duty and coming home, and dealing with, the politics of home life, but just got finished dealing with the politics of, police work. It definitely hits home for a lot of folks, and you don't realize that till, people tell you.
That's right.
And it becomes that much more meaningful. But I had no idea that James would become what he became. But I'm proud of that because it lines itself up with the integrity of what Arjay is naturally about.
He's significant enough to get shot. I can't wait to watch tonight's episode.
He took that bullet, man. James took that bullet.
So, have you been? Let's. I want to get into some climate talk because I want to know where you stand on this.
Okay.
I really want to.
You can educate me on some stuff too.
Oh, I can. I'd love to. So I'm all about, for me, climate action. I think starts at home. Yeah. And home for many, many millions of people are in the urban sector. If we can't fix our shit here, we're not gonna be able to fix our shit anywhere else. No. That's really what I'm all about, right?
Absolutely.
So
I concur.
When I watched, getting chills because we just traveled to California. It was my first time being there. Magical, beautiful place. I saw the Palisades burning. Yeah. That's the neighborhood we stayed in. It's the neighborhood my good one of our best friends, their family home, their friend's family home burnt.
Yeah. Ditto. Friend of mine's.
Ditto.
So family's house burnt down.
Did that shake you to your core? Have you been back? Like what?
I haven't been back. I actually have not been to California, which is my hometown, born and raised in Southern California. My last time there was December. So the fires took place in January. I actually will be in California soon, in a couple of weeks. And is it devastating? Absolutely. I grew up around earthquakes, Mother Nature in that way. Like if you're on the East Coast and you're dealing with, hurricanes or, snow blizzards, when you're in the West Coast and you're dealing with the earth shaking, that's a whole nother, I don't know if I want to say phenomenal, but
it's apocalyptic.
But it's very much so apocalyptic, but it's a fearful event, but you become so acclimated to it where you're almost numb to this is happening. And my wife's family in the 94 earthquakes, their house collapsed. So it's when the devastation actually hits you is when you kind of become less numb.
Yeah.
To the factors of our globe and our earth, and just again how Mother Nature plays a role in it, how we play a role into what Mother Nature does as well, with the ozone layer, things of that nature. So
she's bigger than us.
She's way bigger. And when you get in the boxing ring with Mother Nature, you realize your arms are a lot shorter. Your arms are a lot shorter. So it definitely hit the fires. It broke my heart. But there's a lot of constituents as to why my heart was broken. To see your hometown experience that kind of devastation is always just a point of melancholy. You're just like, yeah, damn, that sucks. On the other level, you start thinking, another constituent that comes to mind is, well, what are some preventative measures we can take? You can't stop Mother Nature. You can't stop certain devastations, but there are certain things we can implement or put into play that could maybe make the end result a little less devastating, a little bit more tolerable. And I remember reading 6 months prior to the fires, how a multitude of people's homes they were going to be losing the fire coverage. And I was like, wow, that's an interesting report. And why are people going to be losing their fire coverage? Like, okay, 6 months later,
Fire happened.
You've got the Altadena, Palisades, Malibu fires, which, by the way, are on all three very different locations. And you're like, wow, okay, what's the conspiracy theory about, behind this?
Let's get into that.
Like, they're just not connected in any way. So how did this fire start? I understand that Mother Nature can make, things intensify, but how did this start in such, again, different parts of town? And I do think it's one of those things where you say, okay, well, what can we start implementing to make sure this doesn't happen again on this level? So maybe we should really encourage people to update some of their homes. And maybe we should be paying for people to update some of their homes. Some of the brush that was around some of these houses that have been around these houses for years, the city should be cleaning it up.
Climate resiliency protocols.
You can't put all that weight on the homeowner. Some of these things are like, hey, as a city, you guys should be cleaning up this stuff as a preventative measure. So in case if there is a fire, whether it be naturally made, man-made, that, okay, we've taken certain precautions where, okay, this won't spread as much,
right? Or
this won't, completely, there are homes, just communities demolished, just gone. Like Altadena is just gone for the most part. It's gone. So I am gonna drive by when I get to town. My wife has been back. She said there's a certain energy in the air. It's hopeful, but it's also it feels like a gut punch.
Yeah.
Like somebody just punched you right in the gut. And
well, I think it's a rude awakening. I think we definitely play a part in climate change, but we also can make an effect, and a positive effect.
Huge.
So I think it's when things like that happen, it's a big wake up call. I think there's Mother Nature, and there's forces of nature that we cannot be helped.
Right.
Like tsunamis, earthquakes, and shit like
that. They're gonna happen. But in California, we started making our buildings more earthquake resistant,
right.
As far as the building will shake, so there's less damage. So it's again, let's play into the possibility of things, because again, if we don't check it, then it's going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. And there are things we can do right now. Definitely things we can do in the moment.
Just curious, and my audience might know.
Yeah.
Have you ever planted a tree before?
A tree? No, honestly, I have not planted a tree.
Oh.
No, I've never planted a tree. I can honestly say that. I would love to plant a tree. I'm currently taking care of a money tree at my home, but I've never planted a tree. I don't have that green thumb factor, but I would love to plant a tree.
Can we set that up?
Absolutely.
What are you doing this Saturday?
Pretty open, actually.
We have a Latin community that is huge protectors of the planet.
Nice.
That are coming out to the Chambly Library.
Nice.
And they want to plant fruit trees. But we're revitalizing all DeKalb County's libraries to turn them into better environmental habitats.
Nice.
So we are working with Galeo, which is a nonprofit.
Okay.
A very large nonprofit that works with the Latinx community.
That's awesome.
We're working with Vecinos de Buford Highway.
Okay.
Means get outside.
Nice.
It's part of Galeo. If you don't speak Spanish, I butcher it.
Oh,
I
grew up around Spanish, and sometimes I understand it. I can't speak it, but I know some of the basics, if I need to get around town.
Oh, it's Vamos pa' fuera. That's let's get outside.
Yes.
Los Vecinos de Buford Highway is a big Buford Highway thing.
Okay.
But anyway, we're planting trees.
Okay.
And if you've never done that before, take your kids.
Experience.
It's an experience.
Okay, all right.
It's such a grounding experience, dude.
Okay. It feels like it would be, because it definitely is something that will last longer than you.
It's exactly.
You know?
So the thing,
Yeah.
what did we do when Dr. Jane Goodall came to town? We asked her to plant a tree.
Plant a tree? All right.
And let me tell you what that lady did. She was 90 years old. I was like, here, we can just shovel this dirt in. She pushed the shovel away,
said, "Heck
and she
no."
got on her knees
Oh, wow.
and pushed the
Pushed the
dirt,
dirt.
and she touched the soil.
That's awesome.
She kissed the leaf of
That's
the tree,
awesome.
and she said,
That's awesome.
we are no different than this.
We are.
This is us.
Well, and when you really get even down to it from biblical standpoints, it's like we are of the earth.
We are of the earth.
You know, we are of the earth, especially when you think about when we pass, our bodies become dirt. Like literally, we are of
Unless you get
this
embalmed
planet.
AF.
Yeah.
Then
Unless
you never
that's
really
the route
become-
your family takes for you in your passing. But, you know, we are literally veins of the earth. You know, the earth flows through us. It really does. I think as human beings, we have to really understand the connection we have as people. And I think there's such, in today's politics, especially in our country, the separation of thought, the separation of understanding, the separation of equality, where it feels like you're different, and you're like, different how? The semantics of what? Skin color, the semantics of city you grew up in, the semantics of eye color, the semantics of how you dress. At the end of the day, our diversity is what makes this beautiful mosaic. Earth is a beautiful mosaic at the end of the day, and the people in it are of that same quality and same fabric. But when we start thinking we can't work together, what we're ultimately saying is we don't want to survive together, and we need each other to survive. We need the trees to survive. We need each other to survive. So we have to really start in that experience, getting our hands dirty, getting our hands in the dirt, and understanding this is our planet.
I'm calling on you.
So
I'm saying, plant a tree with me. It will be a moment. It'll be a moment.
I'm a
It'll
man
be a
of my word.
defining.
I'm a
It'll be
man
a
of my word.
it'll be a
So,
defining moment.
all right.
It really changed me.
So let's take a quick break to thank our sponsors. So we've gained some new sponsors for this year. I want to say thank you so much. Our legacy sponsor, AGSA, you've been really great. We couldn't have done this podcast without you. We've gained some new sponsors this year. This year is the Microlife Institute. They are a really great nonprofit developer here in the Atlanta area. They're all about less space, more life. I just want to say thank you so much. Thomas Billups from Billups Homes. He is the real deal. Yes, builders are getting in the game to fight for climate action. We will give all these links and let you guys get a hold of these people so you can see the great work that they do. Thank you, sponsors, for season 2.
I don't know if you know this about me, but I was a budding fashion photographer.
Nope.
I went to photography school. I got an art degree. I was excited. I
Nice.
started working with a group in New York.
Nice.
I brought all my crew up there. I started
That's dope.
meeting with stylists and makeup artists that were like awesome. I love that
Nice.
work. Love that work. But it wasn't grounding, and I was missing something.
Okay.
So
What did you feel you were missing?
well, nature started calling me, and I was like, okay, well, the most batshit crazy thing I ever did in my life, and I have regrets. And my daughter's like, you're an idiot, because my best friend, who's a makeup artist, Jen Miles, I'm gonna
Okay.
shout her out. She's in New York
What's up,
right now.
Jen?
Shoots for Paris Vogue.
Nice. Nice.
Actually, Vogue covered her wedding in Brooklyn.
Very dope.
She just had a baby.
Very
She
dope.
probably just had a baby. I
Newborn?
think. Newborn. Like
Okay.
she's been trying to have a baby for a long time. She just had a baby.
Congratulations.
But I moved her up from Peachtree City to go meet all of my people in New York, and she made it big. I could have been with her. But no, the earth called me, so I started a farm. My wife and I dropped everything. We're like, what are we gonna do? Start a fucking farm. We started a farm. And the lessons I learned in how nature works and how night sounds different than day,
Yep.
and how
Yep.
summer feels and sounds and tastes different than all the other seasons. It's amazing. When you become connected, it's
You think that experience, had you not had it, could have came in any other avenue or
I
any
don't
other
think
way
I actually don't think so.
No?
I think I got broke.
in that moment?
I got
Yeah,
broke,
I feel
but I honestly learned moments. I learned things that I probably could not have ever bought in any book.
Gotcha.
Life and death.
Gotcha.
I birthed goats. I made soap. I made cheese. I made every food from scratch. I taught and educated kids. I built soil. I mean,
Did you say you birthed a goat?
I birthed a goat.
Wow. I helped birth my son and daughter.
that's big.
Actually, with my son too, I had to hold my wife's leg, so I was there.
Jesus.
I was on the end most men don't want to be on. I was on the the delivery end and saw everything. I was
I
like,
know.
oh my gosh. And I will say too, that was definitely mind blowing to see that, to experience that. I was like, wow, like this is incredible. This is
So newborn babies,
yeah,
you think
newborn.
cuter than a baby goat or not cuter than a baby goat?
That's a great question. It's a good question. No. My son is definitely
Baby
not
goats, like
cute.
immediately they can like latch on, they drink milk, they do their thing, they're walking immediately. Babies are just, they're a lot of work.
A lot of work, I would imagine. Well, I mean, I can only imagine what it's like to deliver a baby goat. But when you deliver a human baby, you got to take care of that human as they grow up.
That
to become
actually has been
a global citizen is the goal. We
that
should be
has been
raising
my
global
biggest.
citizens.
That has been my biggest life experience.
We should be raising global citizens. I'm telling you, that's how I see it. I'm raising children in America, but I'm more so raising global citizens. This is their world.
Yes.
Yes.
And we need to think of it like that. It can't be the whole America First policy. We are a global environment. We are. That's the most beautiful part of our country is that we are so diverse.
Yeah.
You know, I love that.
That's what makes us who we are, what we are, and we should be embracing that as opposed to shunning that or dismissing it and acting as if it's somehow a disease when no, it's the actual thing that feeds the heartbeat of life is our diversity, because our different life experiences, our different perspectives, perceptions of life, they actually help the bigger picture. If everyone looked the same, did the same thing, it's kind of
it's boring as fuck.
Well, it's boring.
Sorry.
But it's boring. But not only is it boring, it's also not uplifting.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this is not
It's like
transcending.
Sweden.
This is very much so like this is going to die off at some point. 'Cause
Right.
Everyone's doing the same thing, but diversity cultivates change. I've always believed that.
100%. So, from what I hear, you're going to plant a tree, which is going to be it's going to be an amazing,
Plant a tree with you. Plant a tree
an amazing
with you.
project.
You got my commitment on that,
Dude, it's going to be
Yes.
great.
I don't know
promise
about the
it'll
goat.
be.
I can't say I'm gonna do a goat, but
No,
I got
no.
you on the tree.
I
got you on the tree.
What you doing here? Jesus, what kind of podcast is it?
Tell Ricky, hey, Ricky family, guess what I did last weekend? Delivered a goat.
Yeah, so my whole goal, and what this podcast is all about, is connecting people back to nature.
Nice.
People are in the urban sector.
Okay.
Millions of people in Atlanta. There's millions of people in New York. There's millions of people in Chicago, Boston.
All over.
We need to connect people back to nature because that is the defining part of our species. That is actually the biggest commonality. Appleseed Tree Company. They're great.
Oh, wow.
By the way, little shout out to Appleseed Tree Company.
Appleseed Tree Company.
They've been dropping mulch off for me
Nice.
for years at
Nice.
all my sites. So all the trees that get down, it's like free compost.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's
Anyway,
that's very cool.
I digress. But it's really important that people connect to nature in the urban sector because this is where we can actually create thought leadership.
Absolutely.
This is where we can move the needle.
Well,
right here.
And I will say this too. Again, in my perception of nature is you can go to it or you can bring it where you are. So if you look at New York, I lived in New York for 9 years. That's my second home. And honestly, the things you see people cultivating, like at the top of a high rise, right? There's people building gardens on top of rooftops. There are people creating, so many natural approaches in concrete environments because they're bringing nature to where they are. So it's not only going to nature, but you can bring nature to where you are.
Because it's innate in us. It's inbred in us and all this. That is the one commonality I think we have.
Yeah.
And I look around here, like all these bullshit bushes and like all the green spaces.
Oh, yeah.
It's lackluster, man. We need more. We need better, bigger, beautiful trees. We need more birds. We need
I definitely feel that, I love green. And the more green, the more oxygen. Because trees produce oxygen.
That's right. Fun fact.
And we give them carbon dioxide, and they take in the carbon dioxide. Elementary school. Shout out to Southern California Elementary School.
You got a teacher you want to shout out? That poor lady.
Mrs. Tennyson. Hey, they're a great teacher.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I believe in green, but I also, I don't know if I'll get any backlash for this, but I believe in the progression of technology. So I believe
100%.
I believe in concrete. I think it all has its place. I think
it should be permeable.
Yeah,
and it should be better concrete. Right. But I do too.
I believe in it. It's like to all my vegan brothers and sisters out there. I'm not vegan. I understand the approach, and I understand the intent, and I understand the quality of life. I advocate it, sign off on it 100%. But as someone who, eats bacon, as someone who eats hamburgers, I'm not eating a burger a day, right? I'm not overindulging in things, and I'm like, hey, this may not be the best health choice in the long run. So, moderation. I've always said that moderation, and then do things appropriately, do things properly. If I am gonna have a steak, I'm gonna make sure that it's a good cut of meat, but also.
Do you get grass fed?
I prefer. I love grass fed.
I can put you in a direction. I can get you
but
some
that's what I'm
shit. Yes.
But that's what I'm saying is like
reverence
you have to
for the product.
You have to look at the product and say, okay, is this the best quality of meat I'm eating? Or maybe not. So maybe I shouldn't indulge in this, right? So it's like you said, how we make concrete the proper way. Our mobile industry. I now have a plug-in hybrid. Jay, this is probably the best car I've ever had. And I plug that sucker in. So yeah, I use that juice. I get 18 miles to the plug-in. Everything I need to do is within, a good 4 or 5 mile radius.
I went full electric this 2 years ago, and I'll never go back.
Best car. I will never go to all gas car ever again.
What is it? Me neither.
What
do you got?
I got the hybrid plug-in Mazda.
Shameless plug, Mazda.
Mazda.
And hey, Kia. I got a Kia Niro. Maybe they'll sponsor the podcast.
So actually, my first hybrid was the Kia Optima. Bought my first one 2013. And again, it wasn't a plug-in, but it was a hybrid. So the engines, revitalizing. What does I say? No. How does that work again?
Regenerate.
Well, it's regenerating it's recharging. The engine's recharging the battery. There we go.
Yes.
So with the plug-in, you've got the whole regenerating factor, but then you also can plug it in and get some extra juice there. I've been to the gas station 4 times, and I've had this car for almost 2 years.
And let's be honest, gas stations are really nasty places to go.
They can be.
Right?
They can be quite disgusting.
And I don't want like my kid or my wife to go to a gas station.
Well, they've been historically known as hubs for like not the most
nefarious
favorable activities known to mankind. Yeah. I'm not saying I know anything. I'm just saying,
it's okay.
Historically, they've been known for certain activities.
That's really, really great. The gas stations, I can point you to some gas stations that are like, but I can also point you to some gas stations that sell the best tacos you ever had.
Interesting enough.
On Beaufort Highway.
Interesting enough, you get that even back home in California.
You
hit up some spots at the gas station, near the gas station, taco trucks. There are some spots, gas station spots, where, there's a benevolence there, right? But most gas stations don't have the most positive reputation on planet Earth. So
go electric and you won't have to see a gas station again.
Again, actually my wife and I were thinking about it. We are thinking about going full electric. I can say, even if we don't go...
although you don't get that full electric.
Well, you won't. Yeah, that's a whole nother experience. Nice. But see, now that's the thing though. That should be like a tourist experience, a tourist attraction, or like an amusement park. Like you go to an amusement park where you can drive around in an old classic.
I love that.
For 10-15 minutes. It's in a confined space, so we're not emitting any kind of crazy gases.
You have to pay the carbon credits.
That's it. Yeah, and you get your 10-15 minute drive around in a controlled space, and then you go home. And it's not affecting the rest of the world. Again, there are ways to cultivate righteousness, intelligent approaches that still lend itself to the benefit of the experience, because people want to have that gratification. I get it.
What's happening right now, Arjay, technology and environmental science is having an intersection.
Right.
And that's where we're at. We're at that pinnacle. And
and we're there.
We're there. We're not gonna. We got to embrace them both. We can't
dismiss.
We can't dismiss. Like, I use ChatGPT. Sorry.
I can't lie, I've used it as well. But that doesn't mean I'm not talented because I use it. You have to know. You have to know. ChatGPT. That doesn't help me memorize my lines. So I still have to have the skill set to do my job. But if there are tools in life that can help amplify that, or maybe I do it in a swifter manner, okay, cool. I'm not mad at that. But if it's taking away from the talent, or if it's taking away from the skill set, that is a different conversation. But if it's amplifying it because you actually are good at what you do, then yeah, let's do that. I mean, I think about my mom when she used to say how she had a cloth diaper for me. Now, mind you, there are industries who still believe in cloth diapers. I understand the benefits of cloth diapers.
We couldn't do it.
But personally,
Nope.
I was like, I can't do that.
So bad.
So there's some things you're like, okay, I need a different approach. And so we didn't do the cloth thing, but we made sure that the diapers we got, organic diapers. You're just trying to, you say, I'm going to play my role in some part, but I also have to make sure it's in compliance to my lifestyle. Like it can't throw my whole
Let me tell you
life
the
agenda
philosophy.
off.
Let me tell you the philosophy.
Negatively.
And then we can start wrapping up. Here's the philosophy. We need 100% of people doing 2% better rather than
Amen.
the 2% of people doing things 50 or 60% better.
Absolutely.
And that's where we can make a difference.
Well, I think I said this to you when we first met. If you're trying to affect the huge conglomerate of the world by yourself, you're taking on a task that is way overwhelming and it's going to beat you to death. Look localized. Look at what it is you can affect. Affect that change. Play your part there. And if everyone did that 2%, eventually you've covered a huge territory. You've covered a massive amount of land where everyone's playing their part, so you have effective change. Just do the part where what you can do, what you can where you can.
That's right.
Because you've already been given the universal divine tools and skill set to make change, to make successful, righteous choices. You have what's inside of you, and the world needs it. But if you don't pull it out, then the world doesn't get to experience it. If you don't do your part, then the world doesn't get to experience it. Everyone's part is vital.
That's perfect. We're gonna cheers. We're gonna end there because that's the natural progression, and that's what this podcast is all about: is meeting people where they're at. Dude, I love you. You were like instant friend.
Thank you, brother.
We are here. Amazing drinks. Mother's Best.
Fantastic.
I've been waiting for this place to open for a year. I watched their sign. I peeked in. The best chicken tenders in Atlanta, I promise you, and we're gonna eat some. I'm gonna get us some chicken tenders. Ian, dude, you are a legend. I met you over at Independent Distilling, mixing cocktails for me. You're a badass. Thank you. Shout out Mother's Best.
Well, folks, that's a wrap. Like, subscribe, and share. Do it like your planet depends on it, because it kind of does. Let's build better cities together and join the urban regenerative movement at rootsdownga.com.